So I went, when I was supposed to stay a night and leave the next day. So in the hotel where I was sleeping, I think we were in Hilton Hotel. I was with Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba. So in the middle of the night at around 4 a.m., I woke up to this light in the room, and about 6, 7 people in the room with guns. They were not putting on uniform, they were putting on jackets and so on and so forth. And I woke up, I said, "Who are you? What's going on?"
Ubwino TV.
Ariko reka ntangira ni just a little story. Tito Rutaremara, are you here? I want to know where you are around. I want to tell the story. You know, in actual fact, igihugu cyacu kivuye kure. Anyway, ntikiravayo neza. Turacyavayo. Acyari byinshi. Impamvu mvuze Tito, it's a bit of our history ijyanye na what happened to us, the genocide, the tragedy. I want to build on it to tell you some other things. The genocide that happened, there are indications in the 60s that continued. Nubwo we also have people who would say it's an exaggeration, really nothing happened. Or what happened, I think, was bound to happen or should have happened. We still have that conversation, unfortunately. But I wanted to say something. I don't say it a lot. It comes to my mind once in a while. And Tito, you were one of those twari kumwe in 1991 in Paris. Monama na Paul Dejoux. Is a name I cannot forget. Ariko ndibuka bihozagara, ndibuka wari uhari nawe cyane.
Oya, ariko ahubwo naje mbere.
Twarahagusanze. Niyo mpamvu nabaga confused. Abo najyanye nabo mu nama ni bande? Hari bihozagara
wari wazanye na doctor.
Nande?
Dr. Ndahiro.
Dr. Ndahiro, but I remember we were like 5 people. Okay, but at least we told you the story immediately after the meeting.
Yes, I remember.
Sit down. 2 things happened. And I'm saying this because recently something else came up that was a bit disturbing. We were invited, RPF, to go to Paris. We were supposed to meet some people from Habyarimana's government. It was about, according to what we were told, to talk about peace. In fact, the RPF for which I was vice chairman then, insisted I should not go. Because they are saying, you know, with all these things happening, and that was 91 September. Was it 91 or 92? in 91 September.
The end of 91.
Eh?
The end of 91.
Yes, it was particularly, I remember, 71 September, I think it was 22nd. So the people insisted I should not go because there was chaos, they even thought they were worried about my security and so on and so forth. So, but I insisted, I told our people in a meeting, which was very people, I said, you know, if we don't go, and they, by the way, they insisted I should be the one to come. But I said, no, but you have the chairman, so maybe you should be the one to come. They said, no, 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 we want you. And that's what caused some worry. They said I shouldn't go. But I insisted, I said, I'm going, because if I don't go, if we don't show up, we will never be understood. They will think we are just there fighting and we don't want peace. So I went there. A couple of things, quickly, I got something else. When we arrived, we had a meeting. It was in the morning. I met a couple of people. One was a man who was, I think, a director general in foreign affairs in France. And that man was called Paul de. I followed him. He even later on became ambassador to Mexico, then went somewhere, and then he's now an old man like me. He's 90, must be 90 something, 96 or something. So when we met, I met him, I met Mitterrand's son. I was almost beaten up for not pronouncing the name well. I'll tell you that. So in the meeting, this man, Paul Dejoux, kept poking his finger in my face. You must stop fighting. So I tried to explain. I said, you see, it's not that we enjoy fighting. We are not fighting just because we like fighting. we are fighting because I went into the history and so on. So he insisted again. Then in the conversation, it got heated up. I actually got a little bit upset. I answered back in a way. Then he said, no, you must stop fighting, because if you don't, you know, even if you take Kigali, you will not find your people. This is what he told him in a meeting. So at first I couldn't understand, I didn't understand what this man meant. You will not find your people. But directly it meant they will be killed. So anyway, the meeting happened, got finished. It was not a good meeting. And as we were going out, he accompanied us in the corridor, and then he said, hope to meet you next time when, but he was being sarcastic, when you are the commander of the new army of Rwanda. I said, yes, sir. I said, if and when that happens, you rest assured I will do a good job of it. This is what I told him. So I went, when I was supposed to stay a night, and leave the next day. So in the hotel where I was sleeping, I think we were in Hilton Hotel. I was with Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba. So in the middle of the night at around 4 a.m., I woke up to this light in the room, and about 6, 7 people in the room with guns. They were not putting on uniform, they were putting on jackets and so on and so forth. And I woke up, I said, "Who are you? What's going on?" Then one of them said, he spoke in English. You hear him, he's even speaking English. So I was in the wrong place, first of all. Then they said, "Who are you?" So say, "Where are your documents? Bring your briefcase." Before I opened it, they had broken it. So but I kept asking, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" Then as I was doing that, when I looked through the door connecting to the room where Dr. Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba were staying, I saw they were sitting down in handcuffs. For me, they didn't put me in handcuffs. So I asked, "What's going on?" They, a bit rough, but so they took us, dumped us somewhere in prison. I didn't know. It was my first time to be in Paris, and my first time to be in prison. So, hopefully the last. Since that time, I haven't been to any other prison. So they put us in the lock somewhere down in the basement of some building and left us there. Then later on, people showed up around 3 o'clock. In fact, why I remember that Bihozagara was around, they didn't know where we had been taken. I don't know how. They were assisted by some people in France whom they knew. Then we saw Jacques Rabunal and Bihozagara. There was a very good friend of ours called Carbonal, a French guy. They showed up in that basement in the prison because I think they had known where we were, and they had tried to give us food. I refused to eat. I told them I'm not going to eat anything in that prison. So they brought us bread, I remember, and milk, pints of milk and bread for us, because we had refused to eat prison food. Then they even wanted to interrogate us. Well, they did. They wanted to to use a polygraph on me, the lie detector. I refused. I told them I'm not going to have a lie detector at all. I said, if they want to kill me there, let them go ahead. In the end, they said, whom did you meet? I mentioned that man. Then he said, who else? I said, Christopher Mitterrand. He said, no. Who told you he's called Jacques Christopher Mitterrand? So, so they told me, repeat. I said, no, I'm not going to repeat. I said, I'm not the one who gave him his names. So anyway, in the end, at around 8 o'clock, they released us, and that night I left. I drove from Paris to Brussels, where I was to take a plane the next day and come back home. Now, I'm saying this, I'm telling you this story. The fact that somebody actually implied that something happened to our people, meaning even if you take Kigali, you will not find your people there. You will not find them alive. Then later on, connecting that with the history, I mean, with what happened eventually, I could not but conclude that was the meaning. They were privy to what was going to happen. Now, in the most recent thing, let me now switch to something next to us and the recent. And, you know Rwanda has had many problems in the region, and especially with the Congo, for all these years. Actually, we said we are here as almost all the 32 years have been problematic. And when you look at the story, these genociders who went to Congo, by the way, whom we had the opportunity this last time, when was it, 2 weeks ago, or how many weeks? When you had a Unity Club event here, this same room, when people who went through all that history, these senior commanders of FDLR, when one of them sitting there told us a very comprehensive, interesting story, because he was there, he was in it. For him, he was not saying things he just heard from some people or anything, no. He was part of it. He told us all the places he moved to in Congo, and the officials he worked with, and colleagues who up to this day have been integrated in the armies and other institutions in Congo, and he named them by names. He told us the story of even how he went to Burundi and everything he did there, and the names of people who did what, who are still there, who left, or something. He's an encyclopedia on this. And he actually was part of it. Those who must have, who were here saw it or saw it on television. And he has notebooks, he has pictures, he has evidence, later on which. But forget about all that. The story has always been, and he told us, you remember, he told us even of the connivance of the UN, the peacekeepers. Yes, they worked with, they were selling gold together, they were involved in the timber business, in agriculture, and named places, people, and where. It's just so. But despite all that, up to this day, you will hear people say, FDLR don't exist. The UN, there's something, there are some experts, group of experts. They'll tell you all those stories. This story doesn't exist. Or if they say it, they will say it so lightly that you should believe it doesn't matter. Okay. So it goes on, and then some of these leaders in the region, in Congo or Burundi, they say it publicly, how and on which side they are. And their intention, and even what they have said on camera, somebody will want to convince you, no, it's not him. It's not them. It's some advisors. No, but he said it. So, whether it is an advisor who wrote it on a paper and the president read it, it is no longer advisor, it is the man who read the thing. So they will keep you telling you this. So now, not even for a bit, I don't believe, ordinarily, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I really don't. But when you have people, who are there asking the same questions, pretending it's saying the same things, and even when they come back to you and tell you what they told you last time, meaning they want you to believe what they are telling you, or what they want, not the facts you're presenting to them. So it's really like saying, better change your mind and start seeing it like I see it. Anyway, all this has resulted into what we have now. And I also want to remind you, and then I've said it again, but I hope you have had time to cross-check the story, the truth about it. This conflict we have in Eastern Congo did not start from and was not started by Rwanda at all. But somehow the plan, I think, before was to make it a problem of Rwanda or for Rwanda.